لا تقل لوحدي أو كيف السبيل.
Humanity sets the agenda.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we welcome you to this special broadcast right here on Salam Media, and as the world has ushered in this beautiful, this noble month of mercy, the month of Ramadan, the month of the noble Quran. Alhamdulillah, many have actually set in. The first Tarawih was recited last night, and many of them are actually fasting, except us here in South Africa, and I'm not too sure how many other countries that have not ushered in the month of Ramadan. But South Africa, is a result of the non-sighting of the moon. And earlier on News and Views, I had the opportunity of liaising and talking with Maulana Ibrahim Bam from the United Ulama Council of South Africa, who explained some of the issues with regards to the sighting of the moon, and also talking about unifying the country as far as the moon sighting is concerned. But there has been many a discussion, there has been many a debate, and this is a debate that has not only happened last night, but this debate has been ongoing for a few years now, looking at our situation here in South Africa, looking at the regional sightings that had taken place last night from Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Malawi, Zambia, Tanzania, Botswana. So these are the countries that have already started observing the month of Ramadan. And this has been a major debating point with regard to regional sightings, and also questions have been raised about the man-made boundaries. Do we go along with man-made boundaries? And Maulana Bam also spoke about the Darul Iftars and the Fatwa departments that have been looking into this issue. There have been discussions that have been taking place with ulama bodies in the SADC and the Southern African region to see if we can find common ground in terms of a common sighting. But these have only been discussions, and what we are led to believe is nothing much has come out of these discussions. But we need to seek clarity, because at the end of the day, it is the Ummah that is at a loss, but also at the same time creating a lot of discussion, a lot of disunity amongst the Ummah. And this is the reason why we are talking this morning, or it's just gone afternoon actually, and we are talking with Mufti Abdullah Dockrat, and who is a principal of Darul Uloom Erasmia, Madrasah Ibaadur Rahmaan. Mufti Saab, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan so much for your time, and we welcome you to this special broadcast.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair.
Yes, Mufti Saab, clearly we need to have consensus, we need to have clarity as far as this particular issue is concerned. Last night, after the announcement had been made that the moon was not sighted in South Africa, once again, it's been a much talk about subject. You know, some people call it moon wars, but this is not doing the Ummah any good, Mufti Saab. And I know that with your involvement in going back to 2020, this is a matter that was looked into. This was a matter that was researched as well. So just your thoughts, Mufti Saab?
Firstly, I think it's important that I say at the beginning that I am not against any of my seniors and my akabir. I have tremendous respect for all of them, including Maulana Ibrahim Bam. And this effort of, the neighboring countries taking sightings from the neighboring countries, accepting their sightings, is not an effort to derail all the wonderful and great work that UXA has been doing. It's something that I think, as you know, and as you correctly say, something that needs some attention. And so just a little background on, what started all of this. So in 2020, July, the first Eid that was performed, considering the regional sightings by myself and a few people, alhamdulillah, we performed Eid Salah on the Friday. This was after discussions. So initially I called UXA, I spoke to some senior ulama at UXA and asked them the Eid before this Eid, before the Eid in July 2020, I asked them regarding their view of not taking from neighboring countries. Discussing the intricacies of proofs, etc. I think there is something that we don't need to discuss, because everyone agrees that there is no issue or there is no problem taking from the neighboring country. I don't think we have that issue, but probably because we live in this country, therefore, there are some reasons that we don't take from the neighboring country. Anyway, I spoke to some seniors, and at that time, one of the seniors mentioned to me that the reason why they don't take from neighboring countries is because there were two ulama groups in South Africa that were not accepting from neighboring countries. So I sat down for a little while, I thought about it, and I said, well, there is a good reason that, we keep things unified in South Africa. It's a good thing. And so the Ramadan Eid, we did not share the Eid with the neighboring countries. However, the next Eid, these two ulama groups were already having Eid on the Friday. And so I contacted Uksa to say that the last time when I called you, you said that the reason why you're not taking the sightings of the neighboring countries is because of these two groups. But these two groups are having Eid on the Friday. Wouldn't it be like in the name of unity that you have Eid on the Friday rather than the Saturday? And obviously, I got a different response at that time. At that time, the similar response to what I heard this morning about the policies that were put in place about 25 or 30 years ago, and the difficulty regarding logistics. So I just want to say clearly that I'm not against any of my seniors in this regard. It mustn't come across like that. I love them, and I am their student. I'm not saying this with the intention of any bickery or to create any wars or anything of the sort. So I think that the issue for me is uniformity versus unity. I think like if you look at our societies, I heard the program this morning about Tabligh and Sunni, and we live in a very multicultural society these days. I mean, like we don't only have, there are many people that probably don't fit into Jamiat or don't fit into Sunni, and they are from different backgrounds. And I don't think that the multicultural society that we are living in, is considered in this regard. And so that is something that I also believe that should be considered going forward. So anyway, in July we performed the Eid Salah, considering the sightings in the neighboring countries. So the difficulty that some people mention is that to what limit? And I have some people ask me some weird questions regarding how far can this go. Like a couple of years ago, when they had the policies of accepting only from South Africa, and it wasn't a difficulty. So if they accept like 4 countries around us or 5 countries around us and have some terms and conditions and rules, I don't see the difficulty in that. The discussions didn't start yesterday or like 2 days ago or 20 days ago. It's years that these discussions are going on, and I don't see the urgency that that is required and needed. There is an urgency for this because every single Eid is the same issue over and over and over again. So Alhamdulillah, some of us are fasting today because we did take into consideration that our neighbors did see, did see the moon, and so we accepted it. Some of them are a couple of 100 kilometers away from us, not that far. So this is the reason why we're accepting from our neighbors. I don't think it's got to do with any fiqhi reason or any proofs or anything. It's just logistics, and I don't think that the logistics are very difficult. I think in the time that we are living in, the fast-moving time, logistics are quite an easy thing. So that's where we are. And there are quite a few people, a number of people, and some organizations that are, having Eid, or who have started Ramadan, and there are fasting today in South Africa as well.
Yes. Now, Mufti Sahab, I think what you are saying is very, very important in terms of a multicultural society. And looking at us in South Africa, the face of the Muslim Ummah has changed, where traditionally we were Indian and Malay Muslims, but we've seen the face of the Ummah change. We've got Muslims from all around the world who would obviously follow what they have been following for many, many years. Like, for instance, and we see this also in our neighboring countries as well, where we've had situations where Ramadan has started off on different days, Eid has been celebrated on different days as well. So we need to be aware of the fact that the dynamics in this country as far as the makeup of the Muslim Ummah has changed as well.
Undoubtedly, that is very true. And the other thing is also, I think maybe because the majority of us grew up, one track mind, like anything that's not in our space, we oppose it very harshly. And so you can't have healthy difference of opinion these days. If you have a difference of opinion, you get branded. You either against this one and against that one. You can't have healthy, difference of opinion as you see today in South Africa. If you have a difference of opinion, you are shunned, you are put one side. And I think, like, honestly, if I'm having Eid today and you're having Eid tomorrow, you should be big enough to say, well, if these are the views, it doesn't have to be the same. Uniformity and unity are 2 different matters. If somebody is having Eid tomorrow or Ramadan, and his seniors are telling him to have Eid tomorrow, then when I meet him, I tell him Ramadan Mubarak and be happy with him. we don't have to make everything into a big fight. But the point is that there is definitely a need to consider taking from the neighboring countries, as there was a need to take from Cape Town in the past. There is a need to take from the neighboring countries, as we can see it's right in front of us. And this need has to be considered, and more effort has to be made to, bring the process, like get the process going. I don't know how far they've gone in the process, but I don't think it's that difficult, really. If you sit down and you and you don't have to get everyone's buy-in. Like UXA doesn't have everyone's buy-in right now. Those that are with them, at least there is some consideration for the neighboring countries. Like this, currently, the way it stands, there is zero consideration for neighboring countries. If there's a sighting in the neighboring country, it's a no. And I remember in 2020 July, there were senior ulama as well that were pushing at that time. I know their names, and I don't want to get, mention anyone's names, but there were senior ulama that were pushing for the one Eid on the Friday because the neighboring countries, had seen the moon, but it was ignored, totally ignored. So I think that UXA has been doing a great job, and no one wants to derail them. It shouldn't be considered like that. But sometimes it shouldn't be also that because I'm not the person to initiate it, I don't want to do it. If someone else initiated it or someone else has this view, it would be nice if ICSA, who has the experience, takes on this responsibility seriously, and maybe for the next year have something in place that at least there is some consideration for the neighboring countries.
Gee, but Mufti Sahab, the fact of the matter is these discussions have begun and they've taken place in the past, and it appears as if every time it is Ramadan or the moon of Eid when this controversy comes up again. And the point I had made to Maulana Ibrahim Baum earlier this morning in the interview that I had conducted with him as well is, why is this the case? Why are these discussions not taking place throughout the year? So comes a critical period like Ramadan or Eid, we don't have this issue.
Alhamdulillah, there is a group of ulama and people that do regional sightings on a monthly basis. And like the general Muslim out there, he wouldn't even know what the Islamic month is, never mind the Islamic date on a general basis. If you had to be in the month of Rajab, they probably wouldn't know. It's just because there's consciousness, people are conscientized around Ramadan, that it is the month of Ramadan. So people then become interested in moon sightings. But there is an effort, ongoing effort, that is well coordinated regarding regional sightings. So it's not like, it only happens now. It's every single month that this is taking place. People have this misunderstanding that some people only bring this up during Ramadan and Eid. It's not true. It's something that is ongoing. It's on a continuous basis. People get involved. Social media, lights up because of all of this, because social media, thrives on all these type of things. But it's not a fight. It's something that can get resolved quite easily. And I don't think it's that difficult. I think it's something that we can resolve.
Yes. Also, Mufti Sahab, I think what is absolutely critical is to make sure that we define things correctly. And this is where some of these discrepancies arise in terms of what would constitute a region. And how would Sharia actually define the scope of the region? Because we are talking about regional sightings, we are talking about man-made borders, and this is extremely important. That and the question would be, what will it take to accept regional sightings if neighboring countries are prepared to adopt the rigorous and stringent tried and tested processes that we in South Africa follow?
Yeah, I did a program on this in 2020, and Fatawa Mahmudiya, which is a very reliable fatwa kitab of one of our seniors, Mufti Mahmoud al-Hassan al-Gankoy, rahmatullah alayh, he's, mentioned there, one of the views is 1,000 miles, which is plus minus 1,800 kilometers. So the thing is that these are all not fixed and stipulated amounts. If the ulama and the seniors get together and stipulate a certain amount, like if they say till the end of Zimbabwe, like how they did with the end of South Africa, and fixed a border, they would not be sinful for that. It was something actually. So, for example, someone asked me that, okay, say Kenya sees the moon, will you accept it? And Malawi takes the sighting of Kenya. Well, like, I'll take Malawi's sighting. But it's not necessary that if Malawi took Kenya's sighting, that I must accept the Eid because Malawi is having it. Malawi is in the middle of somewhere. We're at the end of somewhere. And so it's not like like all other things, we find it so easy to coordinate and get sorted out. Things like this, they are so simple, honestly. We just drag our feet and make it so cumbersome unnecessarily. So just to answer your question, it is not something difficult to stipulate or fix a distance. It is quite easy. The ulama can sit down and say, well, okay, till the end of Zimbabwe, it's a man-made border, but for now, this is where we're going to end. Who knows? Maybe the whole of Africa will eat one day together. We never know where this can go. We'll probably not be alive. But at least if the process starts and say, well, okay, Botswana is like close by, Zimbabwe, and allocate a couple of countries, and I know there's some issues in Mozambique, and say, well, regarding Mozambique, these are our policies, this is what we're going to do, and put something in place. Really, I don't know if there is something out there, but if there is something, I really appreciate it. Like, if someone could forward me, what progress have been made already in this regard, then we can say, oh, well, they have tried, but the way it seems is that there's no effort whatsoever. Policies that were made like 25, 30 years ago, you like they're just holding on to these policies. And so I really feel like there's the need to change 30-year-old policies is a reality. And because of the multicultural society, not that we have to consider everybody, but more consideration should be given to this.
Yes, and also on this subject, Mufti Sahib, the question of ijtihad actually comes in. And last night I saw on one of the social media groups about ijtihad and follow the alim or the mufti of your choice and whatever ijtihad it makes. But again, this has got the potential of creating that disunity, and you follow your mufti and I'll follow my mufti, and we stick to this, and we stick to it very, very strongly. Now clearly there has got to be some common ground where the ulama actually can come together and agree on a particular matter.
Unfortunately, our societies are like this. We are all like this. What is not broken, we don't want to fix. Even if there's a need to like maybe change something, we don't want to fix it. So, these are like common things that are thrown in people's faces. Like, you follow your mufti, I'll follow my mufti. Your mufti is corrupt, my mufti is correct. And you're not going to stop this. It's going to be forever. But like as a body like UXA, generally speaking, people do take to them, and I think they have the upper hand regarding this. Why they don't want to push forward with you're still going to get people that are going to criticize UXA or whoever is announcing the moon matter, but why they don't want to move forward with considering taking from the neighboring countries beats me. Honestly, I can't understand why they wouldn't show some urgency regarding this. I mean, it's not like a one-day-old thing. It's going on for years. Like, is there no need to consider this? So, the thing about you follow your mufti, I follow my mufti, this is for small-minded people, and it's not going to stop. It's going to carry on forever and forever and forever. I don't think we can stop that. But as people that have some form of authority, like, for example, UXA or whichever body is doing the moon announcements, they should consider all of these things. They have a large, I mean, if I was affiliated to an organization and I gave my own fatwa, and the organization gave their fatwa, I am like quite sure that most people will follow the organization. As you can see today, people follow the organization. So these organizations do have the upper hand. It's not one person or one mufti that is giving the fatwa. It's an organization, and they should definitely push forward with trying to better their policies.
Okay. And Mufti Sahib, another issue that also arose last night was there was some report of the sighting of moon in Pretoria, in Lodium, and there was this huge discussion about the use of visual aids like binoculars and telescopes, and all of that came into the discussion. So apart from just the regional issues, these are other side issues that are also playing out, and all of this is creating a lot of controversy.
It's not a difficult thing to work with. In Lodium, mashallah, our teacher would always tell us that when we were leaving Madrasah, he would say to us that no one should ever claim to be the Rasul of Allah, and no one should claim to be Allah. And you'd never understand this until you get out in the world and realize that really everyone wishes good for the deen of Allah Ta'ala. There's no person that actually wishes that the deen of Allah goes down, or even the people that are looking with the binoculars, it's not like they want to create havoc. They want to see the moon. So getting back to the issue of the binoculars, this is also a fiqh masla which our ulama have written regarding. And our ulama means all our ulama have written regarding this here, that the Sahaba radiallahu anhu were very simple people. They would just go outside. They wouldn't go up a mountain, up a peak, look specially like how we have today, where you have the maan cakers and they go out and look at a special place for the moon. They would go out, not see the moon, and they would continue. But obviously, with technological advancements and people having access to social media and the internet and all these type of devices, this is something which we have to deal with. And this is the ijtihad that we have in front of us. We have to deal with the situation. So we have to say, like, okay, fine, the guy is using a 80 by 40. I didn't know what's 80 by 40 binoculars, but this morning I Googled and I got some information on what's the 80 by 40 binoculars. And I think, like, we can get expertise of some people and say, well, okay, for now, this is the boundaries that we are setting. But if you just leave everything open, it leaves so much to speak about and so much confusion. If the people that have some say regarding the moon matter take a stance regarding this and give some feedback, or the other regarding regional sightings or regarding the binoculars, and get some input, like, for example, in the matter of regional sightings, it's easy to take opinion from your own because all your own will stand by you. But to get a different opinion on someone that is not only taking local sightings but is taking regional sightings, get an opinion from them. Maybe it will open your mind to a new avenue and maybe you'll consider something else. But if you just like stay in your lane, in your track, and don't consider anyone else around you, it just creates havoc. So people have access to all this, this form of technology, and they don't wish any bad. It's what they saw and what they're sharing with us, and I think it's something that we need to deal with.
Well, Mufti Saab, obviously we are dealing with the situation right now as we speak, but just to avoid all the unnecessary problems that are experienced as a result of the issues that we have been discussing in the last 20 minutes or so, going forward, what are your advices? What are some of your suggestions on finding a way forward?
There's already a movement in South Africa regarding accepting neighboring countries, and I think those people that are following regional sightings should continue, and I don't think they should be criticized for it. I don't think they are being criticized. I don't think it should be looked at as not. Earlier you said something about disunity. You don't like the word disunity, but like it shouldn't be considered as disunity. It's a view, and they are within their rights to accept the view. Let them continue. And those that don't want to accept the neighboring countries and have their reasons for it, and they are strong and firm about it, well, that's their view. They can continue. So I think, like, the main thing is it's not only the moon matter in South Africa. It's many matters. We need to be considerate to each other's approach to certain matters indeed. And I think respect that. So it would be nice if everyone would take the regional sightings and UCSA or whoever is responsible can make some terms and condition rules and put it in place as soon as possible and try and get everyone, happy again. But until then, until we don't find, a way forward, whoever is happy following regional sightings, alhamdulillah, let them follow the regional sightings. There's nothing wrong with it from a fiqh point of view. They are not sinful in any way whatsoever. And those that are following, the local sightings and prefer that view, alhamdulillah, good for them. I think that we shouldn't be fighting over this matter. It's nothing to fight about till the day of Qiyamah. There's always going to be moon issues, and there's many reasons for that, but that's the bottom line.
Well, Mufti Saab, I must say it's been an absolute pleasure. Jazakallah so much for coming on and discussing this matter and clarifying a number of issues, and I'm sure many questions that have been in people's minds have been answered in this discussion that we've had in the last 20 minutes or so. And we wish you well, Mufti Saab. We request your dua as well. The month of Ramadan, alhamdulillah, has set in, and we make dua that this is a month of unity, and we make dua for the unity of the Muslim Ummah as well.
Ameen. Ramadan Mubarak to all the brothers that are fasting. I'm also fasting today. Ramadan Mubarak, and all those that are, commencing their fast tomorrow. Ramadan Mubarak to you too. Jazakallah khair.
Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Mufti Abdullah Dockrat with us this morning, alhamdulillah, and Mufti Saab is the principal of Darul Erasmia, Madrasah Ibaadur Rahmaan, alhamdulillah, and obviously putting this entire discussion into context. And at the end of the day, there are so many issues, as Mufti Saab has mentioned, that are faced with the Muslim Ummah. And this is an issue that we all seem to be bogged down on. There's just so much taking place right across the entire Muslim Ummah, the suffering, the pain, major issues that are impacting on us as a Muslim Ummah. And those are critical issues that we need to focus on. Not that I'm saying that the moon issue is not. It's a major issue. It's a Shari'i issue. And at the end of the day, we need to do what is right. And with that, I'm going to be leaving you away from the special broadcast that we've had this afternoon right here on Salam Media. So from myself and the rest of the team, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.